What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. In this video, I just want to show you my new Hornblasters horn that I installed on my 2006 Silverado 2500 HD with the LBZ Duramax. I'm going to show you how I installed it, and we're going to do some tests of the horn so you can hear the difference between this horn and the stock horn. And why did I choose this particular horn? Well, there's a lot of different horns on the market, and Hornblasters is well known for their horns, but most of the horns on the market require you to install an air tank and an air compressor. And while that's great, I really don't need an air tank and an air compressor. If I need to put air in my tires, I'll just bring a compressor with me. I don't need to have onboard air. For my particular use of my truck, I do light to moderate off-roading, daily driving, and moderate towing. So I don't really need onboard air. And it gets very complicated with an install for a air compressor system. You have to route lines, you have to figure out where to mount the tank, not to mention the wiring. It's a lot of stuff, and I just wanted something to give my truck a little bit more noise if I'm going down the road and I'm towing something heavy, or if I'm going down a hill and somebody's driving really slow in front of me, or there's a pedestrian or something like that. You know, my truck weighs 7,600 pounds empty. That's a lot of weight, and it takes a little bit of time to slow down, so I want to make sure people can hear me when I'm coming down the road. Also for truck shows and stuff like that, it's always cool to have a slightly louder horn than stock. It sounds cool. So this is the Hornblasters sniper horn, and that's what the horn looks like. And then it comes with this little electric air compressor. So even though you don't have a huge air tank, you have that compressor there, which is in and of itself a huge upgrade over any factory horn, okay? So even just this simple kit is a huge upgrade over factory. I think it's 127 decibels. Factory horns are like 110 decibels. And when you're on the road, I'm sure a lot of you guys probably know it's really hard to hear a horn if somebody's beeping you. It's usually at like a stoplight that you really hear them, but if it's on the highway, the road noise makes it hard to hear. So when I'm going down the highway, I just want to really be able to let people know that I'm coming through. If I have a heavy load, if I'm hauling or towing, not because I tailgate people, I actually drive very slow. I'm the type of person that people tailgate, actually. But I'll show you how I mounted it, and I'll show you like a wiring diagram. Overall, I would say the install was easy, just very time consuming, because I had to figure out where to mount the horn and then also the compressor, and there's a lot of wiring involved. So it's not difficult per se, it's just time consuming. So I was finding myself doing like a little bit each day in the evening, you know, maybe 2 hours every evening. I would do something like the first evening, I mounted the horn and I mounted the compressor. I figured out where to mount everything, and I got the hardware for it. And then another evening, I ran the electrical into the engine bay. And then in another evening, I ran the wiring to the cab, tapped the fuse, installed the switch, and tested everything. It takes time. It's not hard. You just need basic vehicle 12-volt electrical knowledge and experience. So, you know, it was fun. It wasn't hard to install, but I'll show you how I did it on my truck. I have a Steelcraft HD bumper, so I ended up mounting the horn behind the bumper, right where the front license plate is supposed to go. There's like a little punch plate there. And I just mounted the horn horizontally. That was just the easiest way. I literally just bolted it right to that punch plate, and then I ran the vacuum line, which I think is like 2 or 3 feet long, to the or the air line to the compressor, and the compressor I mounted like kind of above where the fog lights are going to be on that bumper. And so I'll show you everything, but I'll also test it for you and do a drive-by comparison so you can hear the difference. But overall, I think this is a great option for pretty much anybody that has a larger vehicle, a Jeep, an SUV, a pickup truck, even commercial trucks. It's super easy to install. It just takes a little bit of time, but it's a clean install, and it will make your presence known. So it'll increase your safety. The kit comes with all the wiring and electrical stuff you need. I did have to end up purchasing some of my own ring terminals to mount them to my bus bars that I have to tap the B+, the 12-volt power. I have bus bars, and the ring terminals they gave just were too small to fit the studs. I have 5/16 and 3/8 studs on my bus bars, and I think the ring terminals they provide only have 1/4 inch diameter, so you can either use a drill to enlarge, or I just got new ring terminals and just crimped them on. But check out that bumper sticker. Don't blow your temper, blow your horn. So let me show you how I have it all mounted up, and I'll show you a wiring diagram as well. So I went ahead and drew a wiring diagram for myself just so I wouldn't make any mistakes. It's worth it to spend the time to draw everything out so you understand where to run everything and where you're going to tap power from. You will need to tap a fuse or tap into your factory horn wiring or factory horn circuit. If you want to use the toggle switch that's provided, then you don't need to tap into your factory horn. But if you want to have it so you push your beeper on your steering wheel, then you have to tap into the factory horn circuit, which I didn't do. I just put the little toggle switch. It's actually like a push button. It's a little button, and it's momentary, so it's pretty much impossible to flip it on and leave it on. You have to push it down, and as soon as you let it go, the button pops back up. So but it does draw a lot of amperage. It draws like 20 amps. So that compressor is pretty beefy. So you're drawing a lot of power from your batteries. So I'll show you how I did it. But basically, you're going to have your horn, and the horn's going to have your vacuum line or your air line, which goes to the compressor. You're going to have to mount that compressor pretty close to the horn, so you can't have the horn like by your bumper and then the compressor inside of your engine bay. I mean, you'd have to buy a longer airline, and then you have to also remember with these airlines, they can get pinched really easily, so you want that line to be relatively straight or have gentle curves. You're not going to be able to like snake that airline, up through tight spaces around your radiator and up into your engine bay. So I just mounted my compressor right above where my fog lamps are, tucked up, away from any kind of road spray. Okay, but you're going to have your horn, you're going to have your vacuum line to the compressor, and then the compressor has a positive and a ground. So you're going to have to run one wire to a ground. In my case, I ran it to one of my bus bars, my negative bus bars, or you can run it to a clean ground bolt if you have one nearby where the compressor is, or you can just drill a hole somewhere in the body or some kind of frame member. I wouldn't drill right into the frame, but if there's like some kind of bracket or something nearby, and just sand it down, and then just put a self-tapping bolt, and that could be your ground. But in my case, I ran one ground wire to my bus bar, and then you're going to have your positive wire that's going to go to the relay. So this is going to be like a thick 10 gauge wire, which they supply you with that, because again, it's sending 30 amps, okay, down from the relay to the compressor, so it's a lot of amperage, so you're going to need like a 10 gauge wire here. Same thing for the ground. So you're going to have your horn, airline, compressor, ground wire, and then positive wire to power the compressor. The positive goes to the relay. Then the relay has its own ground, so you're going to have to ground the relay out. I grounded out the relay and the compressor to my bus bar to the same stud, okay? I would recommend doing that if you can. If you're going to, you know, drill a hole somewhere in your body, you know, just try to run both ground wires to the same stud. This way you don't have to drill 2 holes, and it'll just make everything a lot easier. Then you're going to run one wire, you're going to run, one wire into the cab to the toggle switch. The toggle switch has 2 wires. So one wire is going to go from the relay to the toggle switch, and then the other wire is going to go from the toggle switch to your power source for the toggle switch. And I tapped the TBC accessory fuse in the driver's side, and what that does is that fuse is only active with the accessory on. So when you turn the key to the first click to the accessory position, it provides power to that fuse slot. So I can only use the horn when my key is in the accessory position, which I think is fine. So that's basically the wiring, and then you're going to have your power to the relay. It's going to go to whatever power source, you know, if you don't have a bus bar, it's going to go to your battery, your positive battery stud, and that has a 30 amp fuse. That's a short section of wire. It's like they provide you with like 3 feet of wire, but what I did is I kept the 30 amp fuse out of the fuse holder on this power wire. So when I'm wiring everything up, I don't inadvertently short to ground anything. So when you're installing everything, the way I did it is I installed the horn first. You're going to want to figure out where your horn and compressor are going to go, but also your horn, you want to think about the acoustics, okay? Because there is acoustics involved here. You generally want that horn to be as close to the road as possible. If you have it buried somewhere deep in your engine bay, the engine bay and the frame and the body are going to absorb the acoustics. So that's why I mounted mine under my bumper, okay? And you generally want to point the outlet of the horn towards the road or towards the ground. But if you have to put it horizontally, that's fine. Just probably not a good idea to put it, you know, so the outlet is facing up. That wouldn't be good. But if the outlet is facing down or to the side or forward, forward is ideally the best, like diagonally down, so it's facing forward, and then a little bit to the ground so the sound reverberates off the ground. But I didn't have the room to do that. I probably could have, but it would have been a real pain to, you know, custom fabricate brackets, and would have taken so much time to figure that out. So I just mounted it horizontally right behind my front plate. And then again, think about the compressor, because the compressor is going to have to be relatively close. You don't want the compressor to be too far away, because then there's going to be a delay from when you press the button until you hear the sound. The longer the distance between the compressor and the horn, the longer the delay is going to be. That's why they only supply you with like a 2 or 3 foot airline. Also remember that airline can get kinked really easily, you know, so you don't want it to get kinked, because then you're going to have issues. So you're going to want to think about where to mount the horn and the compressor. That's going to be your starting point. And then from there, you're going to think about where to mount the relay and how you're going to run your positive wire from the compressor up to the relay. The relay should be inside the engine. And then you're going to want to figure out where to ground out your ground wires for the relay and the compressor. Then you're going to want to figure out where to mount your toggle switch and where to tap your fuse or tap your power. And then you're just going to run your power to your 12 volts But leave your 30 amp fuse disconnected when you're doing this, so this way you don't have any short circuits. But I'm going to show you guys exactly where I have everything mounted, so stand by. All right, guys, wanted to just show you where I mounted the horn and compressor and everything, all the wiring. So right behind this plate here, I got the horn going this way. You can actually see the end of the horn right there. Okay, right there, you see it? So, and then you can see the bolts here behind the plate. You see the two stainless bolts. I used lock nuts and lock washers. And then same thing on this side. Just bolted it right onto this punch plate. It just worked out perfectly. And then here's my vacuum line. You can actually see the vacuum line right here. That I actually put loom over it. You can see it right there. I actually loomed it just to protect it from you know, road debris and stuff, and then went right over the frame, right over the end of the frame, as you can see. And then my compressor is right up in there. Let's see if I can show you. There's the compressor mounted up in the corner. And there was actually an existing hole that I used for this bumper. The brackets to mount this bumper onto the frame, there was like a spare, actually two spare holes. So I just used one of those spare holes and a giant fender washer. And you can see I got the power wire and the ground wire, and they're loomed up. Those are the 10 gauge wires, and they're gonna go straight up. I ran them behind the headlight, so like right up in here. Let me just pop the hood and show you the rest of the wiring. So compressor's there. It's basically right up in here, tucked in this pocket, and I'm going to be putting lights here, light cubes. I got some fog lights and spotlights there. And then the horn is there. So horn, vacuum line, compressor, positive, negative 10 gauge wires going up like this behind the headlight. They come out over here. You can see the one wrapped in red tape. Got one going to my negative bus bar here. And then we got the other one going to the relay. I ended up mounting the relay right there on one of those ground strap studs. You can see there's the relay right there, right above the glow plug module. And I just used the just pulled the nut out and slipped it right over, but I think I'm gonna relocate it because I noticed it was sliding a little bit. And there's actually my fuel filter heater on my Air Dog. That's the relay for the fuel filter heater, and then there's the relay for the Air Dog. Then I got the wires come. I still gotta actually zip tie them here. Got some spare wiring, but here's the main wire here going to the relay. Then I got one of the ground wires coming back and going back into the same stud as the compressor. The relay ground wire is right here. Okay, this one right here. I got a mess of wiring, but I got so many accessories here. It looks crazy. And then let me just show you the switch here. So here's the switch. I just put it right here. There's just enough room here to drill out a hole. And as you can see right now, it's not working because the key is out. If I put it in the accessory position, it'll work. And let me show you the fuse that I tapped is this one right here. So it's going to be your TBC accessory 10 amp, this one right there. I already have SEO accessory tapped, and I also have, looks like, yeah, ignition 3 tapped as well for backup camera and other stuff. I got a lot of accessories. As you can see, I got multiple fuse taps here, so this was the most convenient one for me. For you, it may be different if you don't have a whole bunch of accessories like I have, but that's the one I tapped, so I got to put it in accessory position for it to work. So I'm gonna just set up the tripod and get some sound samples for you. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it for this video. Stay tuned for more LBZ Duramax and supercharged Trail Boss content. Check out my off-roading and truck playlist for all my truck videos. I think I'm actually going to get some BDS recoil traction bars for this truck and for my Trail Boss. First I'm going to test them out on this truck, and if they work good off-road, I might install them on the Trail Boss as well, because that one's supercharged. So it's good to protect those drive shafts and U-joints from the hard acceleration, the axle wrap. But also I got to install some Boost Auto tow mirrors. I got to do the roof lights. Still got a lot of stuff to do on this truck. Got to install the fog lights and spotlights here. I'm going to do the 3-inch downpipe, I think, at some point, or at least give it a try. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I think the horn is great. As you can see, it sounds good. It's nice and loud, has a good sound to it, gets people's attention. And until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 P's: prepare, practice, and persevere. And if some of you guys grew up in the 90s and early 2000s, you'll remember the JD Power commercials with the Silverados. Well, this one has an authentic JD Power sticker on it. Look at that. Straight from 2006. Most dependable heavy-duty full-size pickup in the US. I don't think they really do those anymore. Now it's which one has the best fuel economy.